for work, have you noticed that the energy you have in your body affects your ability to focus, to make good decisions? If you've had, like, maybe you're not feeling so great, you're not really up to playing a big game, and that the quality of the energy you have every day can really impact the quality of your results. Well, personally, I've been through a lot of ups and downs with my health, and I wish I knew a lot of the things that I know today about health, which is why for today's Power Up podcast, I've invited a friend of mine to come and talk about what has to be in place as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a thought leader. You've got to have the right power in place to get the best results. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson-Strick, and today on Power Up Podcast, we're going to dig in to something super important, and that is how the care of your body and what you're doing to create the right vibration energetically in your body is impacting your ability to lead and get a greater result in your business. So let me introduce you to JJ Flizanes. Now, JJ is what we call an empowerment strategist. She's the director of Invisible Fitness, which I love that title. It's such a great title. She's the Amazon best-selling author of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, and author of Knack Absolute Abs, Routines for a Fit and Firm Core. And she was named the best personal trainer in Los Angeles in 2007 by Elite Traveler magazine. Now, one of the things I love about JJ is I'm always following her stuff, and she keeps reminding us that the word fitness is not just about the state of our physical body, but it really is the factors which determine our overall well-being. And when I asked JJ to join me today, one of the things that I really, really wanted to get out is some tips and strategies to help us power up from the inside out, but also really be able to sustain higher levels of energy and momentum in the work that we're doing. So JJ, I'm so glad you decided to come on today and join me on Power Up Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Melanie. I look forward to our conversation. It's so important for us to be having these kinds of conversations for successful entrepreneurs, because all I used to hear from people that wanted to be successful was talk about money and strategy. That's all very important, of course, right? But what's the energy beneath all of that power and success? And then, of course, you need to have energy to enjoy it when you get it anyway. So we're talking about that foundation.
Yeah. It's actually, there's a little meme out there that most people spend their health making their wealth, and then spend their wealth fixing their health.
Yeah, that's a Dalai Lama quote, I think. I've seen it.
I've seen a few people attributed to it by now. But I think what that means to us, every single person here wants to have a greater impact, wants to be able to get their message out in a bigger way. And personally, and I started to talk about this more lately, I went through a few years where I was barely able to get out of bed, was really having a tough time with my hormones being out of balance, and really affected by some physical things that I didn't understand what was happening. And it derailed me quite greatly from the usual pace and momentum that I travel in my work and in my business. So I learned a lot about some little things I can do differently to make my energy more sustainable. So we'll get into that in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about you first and how you got into doing what you do.
I really want to talk about you.
Yeah, let's make it all about me.
I want to know what you learned and what you think got you to where you were with your health journey, because that's kind of really important. But what about me? I've written a few books. I have a podcast show, personal trainer. I'm an empowerment strategist, which really means I help people find their power and reclaim their power in all areas of life. I mean, it started out as a personal trainer, and I'm a student of life, and I'm that curious kid that always asks, well, why? Well, why? Well, why? And I'm also astrologically a Pisces with a lot of Sag. So I got a lot of heart, but I also have a lot of curiosity, and I'm not just going to believe what you tell me because you tell me. You kind of have to show me, prove to me. I need to understand it. I need to look at it in 10 different ways until I go, okay, I believe you now and I'll follow you. But I try really hard not to be sort of a blind follower of something until I've examined it, really thought about how I feel about it, if I agree with it, if I think it feels right, and then go from there. And in the personal training industry, when I started out, quite honestly, it was really just to have a job where I could focus on working on my own body. I always cared about what I felt like and looked like to a certain degree, and then also to help others and to do something that was more science-based, something that used my brain, something that was not like waiting tables or doing sort of odd jobs as I was pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. So it started out, but just like anything that I do, once I start to learn something, I want to know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to send you a bunch of BS. And when I have, of course, just like everyone else, right, it kicks you in the butt when you go, oh, I really didn't know what I was talking about when I said that. So all along the way, there were checks and balances. And of course, I wanted to know. And learning personal training turned me from what I thought I was this right brain, really theatrical, emotional expression kind of oriented person, creative person, into someone smart. Like I really got confident when I started learning personal training because I learned science. And I have to stop by saying, when I say learn personal training, there are probably an obscene number of people out there who are trainers or coaches of some kind when it comes to physical fitness. But let me ask you. So if I was a doctor and I said, well, I've had 4 knee surgeries, I think by now I should know how to do surgery on your knee. Would that make you confident that I knew what I was doing? Probably not.
Yeah, it would scare me.
Right. So that's what happens with most people in the fitness industry. They lose weight, they get healthy, they feel excited, and they want to help you do it. But they really don't understand physics, mechanics, biochemistry, or chemistry in general, biology, anatomy, physiology, the biomechanics, anything psychology, or anything that goes along with the food and the hormones. So there's really no science behind any of it. They just become coaches or trainers who either sell somebody else's program or who give you sort of a cookie cutter program to say, here, just do this. And yes, it can work and you can lose weight and you could get fit to a certain degree. But as you age, as your life gets more complicated, as those things don't work for you, what science do you have to go off of that starts to give you answers? I'm a problem solver, and what's different about what I do and what I've been doing my whole life, so starting out as a trainer doing science and then learning, like applying the science to the person and going, okay, why didn't it work? What else is going on? Let's see. Let's break this down a little further. Oh, there's the psychology piece. Oh, there's the food piece. Oh, there's this piece. And so then I learned all about those things. So now I have this toolbox of, it's not a cookie cutter anything. It's intuitive, but it's also an assessment and a combination, if you will, of the map of all the different pieces that I put together, or the cooking, if you will, of the cake and the different ingredients that are very specific to you. Because if it's not specific to you, most likely it won't work, or it won't last, or it will cause damage as you do it because it wasn't built for you.
Yeah. And what you're describing is the difference between somebody who mentors and somebody who coaches. A mentor can teach you how to do what they did, but only the way they did it. And a coach has been trained and developed and conditioned to extract the best out of you and to achieve a really powerful result. And when you have training and background and a real expertise in something because you've been certified or developed in that, it really makes a very powerful combination. So I love that you brought that up because a lot of people don't understand the difference between a mentor and a coach and why you actually most of the time need a coach. And luckily you'll have a mentor and a coach.
Yes.
Because they're one and the same. But I'm glad you brought that up. You're talking about, the system and the formula and the science behind personal training. But, let's talk about what as a person, as an entrepreneur who needs to be fueled for a higher level of success, what do we have to know about what we're doing to our body? And let me set this up by saying, how many people do we know in this entrepreneurial, fast-paced world? And, it could be anybody really, but we'll talk about entrepreneurs for a minute, who they get up in the morning, they have coffee, they don't have time to eat breakfast, so they jump right into their, emails and then they're powering through to lunch because they get so caught up in all the emergencies. And then maybe they, stuff a bagel in their mouth because they don't have time to slow down. And next thing you know, it's 5:00 and they're starving and they're exhausted and their head's all foggy. And, that's how their days roll. What are we doing to our bodies at that point?
You guys, you mentioned before we started recording, and I've heard you say it since, like frequency maybe or vibration. So can we bring in some spiritual principles?
Absolutely. I think here we talk about the holistic path to success. So,
Okay. I always kind of have to ask because, again, being a trainer and starting off in a very physical way,
yes,
I have to wonder and make sure
totally.
that I'm allowed in. I
Yeah.
created my show to give myself the platform
Yes.
to talk about all the things that I think are necessary for true success and mastery of your body and of your energy and of your vibration, so to speak, and your frequency. So most people get up and they're reactionary. They're putting
Hmm.
out fires. They're not proactive. So what they're doing is looking for external validation for their emotions, for their energy, right? Getting up and hoping that the email says you got the job or you got the client or they paid their bill or, right. And if you, just like in weight loss, I always tell people to get rid of the scale pretty quickly. I mean, not don't throw it away, but don't use it. And if you're weighing yourself every day, you're creating a victim mentality of that you have given the power. That's why I'm self-empowerment. You've given the power to the scale because you get up and you wonder, oh, am I going to be happy today or sad today based on what the scale says? So same thing with being an entrepreneur. I have clients that are business owners and CEOs and own multi-million-dollar companies, and they do the same thing. They get up and they're completely reactionary. And then, of course, they wonder where their day went, why they have no energy, like you said, why they can't lose the weight, or why they haven't been able to get their exercise in, because they've given their power away so quickly that they're like a cup that is empty. They can't give anything because they've just dumped it out. They haven't even filled it yet, and they're already trying to put out fires and be in reaction. And what you get to choose always is if you're going to be proactive or reactive. And vibrational frequencies, you get to choose where you set yours and where you start from. And the higher you start, the more you attract what's at that level, and the better you're able to handle and deal with anything less than that. But when you don't take any control over it and you get up and automatically start being reactive, then you get set wherever the first email that bothers you is, and you're sort of weakened, if you will. You're too reactionary to outside influences, and you don't have a stable footing. And I believe it's your job as a person, forget entrepreneur, as a person to decide that how you feel yourself. You can't drive the car without gas in it. So what makes you think you're going to actually handle life without putting something good in it to make you better at handling life? So that's what I see with entrepreneur. And I did it myself. Of course I've done it. So of course I've had to learn the hard way on why all the things you just said. And I'm sure you've probably gone through it too. That's why you said you had a health issue,
Yeah.
because things like adrenal fatigue are so easily, we have it. It's an epidemic in our society. It's an epidemic for everybody, but it's an epidemic for entrepreneurs more than anybody else, because we're off trying to find our freedom. Yet we've put ourselves in a cage of I'm going to work nonstop because I can. And because if I don't, I won't get the freedom I'm seeking, even though I have it right now. So.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting illusion that we create for ourselves. We create the illusion of freedom, but we don't have any, because we're working all the time. Well, I should say entrepreneurs are. I don't. I put time boundaries around my work, but it was because I didn't have unlimited energy, and I really wanted something more for my life. And actually, I started getting chronic fatigue in about 1998, I think it was. I was traveling 250 days a year. I was on the road all the time for my work. And this was back when I worked for a Fortune 500 company. And not only was I on the road all the time, but I was eating like crap, and I wasn't doing anything I was passionate about. And it was just like robbing the life out of me. And that was my first real discovery that our bodies are not this ongoing source of energy. And so I've honestly struggled with it ever since, and I've continued to have it bite me in the ass at times when my stress level or I'm out of sync with things. And it's actually become quite an interesting barometer of how aligned am I with my truest self, with my and how much am I living into the greatest version of myself. And am I off track or on track with that? My body will tell me very quickly.
I have a family member in town, and she kept saying, oh, it sucks getting old, and I'm getting old. I'm like, stop saying that. It's not, your body is talking to you, but that's not the message it's saying. It's saying, attend to me.
Yes.
But you just want to lump it all in one category and say it's because I'm getting old. And if you're not going to actually take any action on all the things that you're complaining about, it's going to keep happening. It's going to snowball. The body is saying, please pay attention to me. Please do something about this, or it will get worse.
Yeah. So, Gigi, what are some of the things that we should be aware of that we might need to stop doing that might be harming our energy and bringing down our vibration that we need?
So the first thing I do want to reiterate that what we just talked about and what I just mentioned is that when you get up in the morning, you get to decide in that moment if you're going to be proactive or reactive. And energetically, when you're reactive, you've given your power away. You have no power, you have no energy, in essence. You're waiting to find it through food or your coffee or the emails or the validation or the sale. So here's a couple words that came to mind when we were discussing today's show. Sustainability. How sustainable is something? Because someone will say, if you really want to be successful, you have to work really hard. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But are you using leverage or are you using willpower? And the difference is the ocean and surfing, surfing's like the best analogy for you being in alignment with a wave. You're not controlling the waves. The waves are there and it's your job to get into alignment with them. And that's when you have the experience of surfing. So with your own energy system, everyone's going to have a different amount of energy based on your food, based on your astrology, based on your age, based on your hormones, based on the level of happiness and joy that you have come to, based on the amount of crap you have going on in your head or the addictions you may have to deny yourself of your own feelings. So there's not you have to know, am I a high energy person or am I a low energy person? Am I a medium energy person? What do I know about me that's consistent? And when we push ourselves beyond that which is normal for us, there will be breakdown. So again, in that morning, that's the first moment you get to decide when you open your eyes in your bed. Am I going to be proactive or reactive? And are the first 5 or 6 things that I do this morning going to fill me up, or are they going to start giving my energy away automatically? That would be because that's the best time that you have a clean slate. The first thing in the morning is a clean slate, an opportunity to decide to give yourself your energy and start from a centered place instead of a scattered place.
Okay, hold on. I have to ask you, are you a high energy, medium energy, or low energy person?
Me? Oh, I'm a high energy person.
I knew it. I can tell with, like you're moving energy.
I'm like, this video is hard, but I have to sit. I'm like, I want to be up and down. I'm a high energy person. But
I got that.
But as I age and as I get clearer, I'm glad you asked this question. You have to also understand about yourself if your energy comes from anxiety or excitement, because that's another big depletion. And for a long time, I'm a great producer. I can write books. I can publish shows. I can get stuff done. I can figure out all kinds of stuff. I'm a do-it person. But that do-itness was fueled by anxiety and fear.
Yes.
And so that is going to deplete you and cause adrenal fatigue, right? And not be sustainable. Not to mention it doesn't feel good. And any success you get on that wave will not be supported by the universe because you made it happen. You didn't find your wave and get on it and rode it. You created it. So guess what? You're going to have to keep creating it at that pace, which eventually, you won't. So while I'm a high energy person, when I got really clear about that aspect, it was probably, years ago when another entrepreneurial mentor person that we all know and love was talking about sort of spiritual things. I think it was right after I published Fit to Love the first time. So I think it was October 2011. I told my business partner that I was not willing, like if we didn't catch the wave, I wasn't willing to do it all myself. I needed a team. I needed this, and this to be delegated. Like I've been doing it all myself up until this point, and I refused to do it all going forward. So here it's October. And something hit me. I watched a video of somebody else, and this person, in my opinion, was trying to make fun of the vibrational frequency conversation. Like, oh, you can't just meditate and manifest things. And I thought, all right, I'm done. And I realized that the only reason why I was following so many people was because I was curious about what they were doing, but I was in comparison mode and I had been changing. So my relationship to those mentors was changing.
Yes.
And I was no longer in alignment with their message because they were all about surface things. And when I stood back and said, what do I want? What do I want from your life? I thought the only thing I want, do I want your relationships? No. Do I want your health? No. Do I want the way that you are in the world? No. I want your money. That's all I want. So I was like, I need to get out of here. So I started deleting myself from lists.
That's smart.
stopped. I like cold turkey went, I'm done. And from October 2011 until September of 2012, I did not send out an e-zine or an email to my list. I may have sent out one or two. Now, marketers are going to be like, that's terrible. You need to keep in touch. But I needed to regroup and go, I believe in law of attraction. I know it exists. You can see the ocean. I get the whole waves. I understand frequency, but I'm not living it. And I refuse to pretend and just use my head and say, oh yeah, I get it. I'm doing it. And then to not actually do it. I'm like, nope, I am not going to move until I am inspired. I am not going to, until I have a plan, until I have support, until I catch that wave. I am sitting still. I am not pushing. I am not doing I'm not, putting my white knuckles on it and making it happen. I'm done, because I don't want that. The whole point of working so hard is that you can sit back, let the wave take you. Well, you can't let the wave take you if you never got on the wave in the first place. So I now have a lower, I don't let myself get uncomfortable or tired like I used to. So the minute, like I had a really hard Monday. So after my 2 clients Tuesday morning, I didn't do anything. I literally veg out. Like I take so much time, and rather than worry about a timing or a to-do list or something like external getting done, I've really practiced the trust of, oh, everything's working out for me. It'll happen. And please, I'm like, you can be so much more when you're focused and you have energy, you can get stuff done. And then guess what? You get more done in 2 hours than you could have in 8 hours when you're so scattered and powerless. So while I'm a high energy person, I think high energy people who are good doers, who are smart, who are multi-talented, fake themselves out and think, yeah, I can do it all. It'll bite you in the butt. If you're not going to stop now, it's going to be a health issue. It's going to be a crash in your relationship. It's going to be something that you don't expect. And then you're going to go, oh, how'd that happen? Well, because you weren't paying attention or taking care of yourself.
2 things I want to just pop in here with. One is like what you're explaining, that breakdown is in, there's like this evolution of awakening that I see many of the leaders go through. And there's a point where it cracks, because the illusion that you've created can't sustain itself anymore. So that's what you're describing. But, I was getting this visual, going back to your surfer analogy, of the thrashing that many people are doing, thinking with the thrashing they're going to get traction, versus really like getting yourself connected in that wave and riding the wave effectively.
Yeah.
And that takes mastery and discipline and patience.
And trust.
And trust. And it's such a beautiful analogy, this surfer idea that you brought forward. And I love that the visual of recognizing when you're trying to do it all and you're in that reactive mode, you're thrashing. When you're getting yourself grounded and you're really stepping back into what I call your power threshold and owning your power and nurturing it and standing strong in it, because you're trusting and you're your groove, that's where the real power comes from. So it's a great analogy. So I don't know if we got to the what do we need to stop doing? But what I took out of that was you need to stop thrashing and get really purposeful and intentional and own your power and really get clear where your power comes from so that it's sustainable. So that's what I took out of what you just said.
Good. What I want people to stop doing is stop giving your power away first thing in the morning.
Yes.
Right. And to take your power back by deciding that you're not going to be reactive, but be proactive and get yourself full, centered, balanced, calm, feeling good before you deal with your clients, before you make the phone calls, before you check your email. Because otherwise you're being run by your circumstances, and your circumstances won't change until you take control of your own energy. So that was what's to stop doing and kind of what to start doing. The next thing I would say is that, of course, because I'm in the health and wellness industry, is that what you put in your body and what you eat will absolutely affect your ability to focus and your sustained energy. So if you think that your diet doesn't have an effect on your energy or your focus or your effectiveness, you're very wrong.
I totally agree. And that was actually, you asked me what was happening to me is I actually became very sensitive to a lot of foods, and I had to get really committed to eating super clean to heal my body. And yes, it's unfortunate. I don't eat cheese. I don't really eat sugar anymore. I don't eat wheat. And yes, I miss them sometimes, but I don't miss feeling like crap. And the level of damage that was happening to my body, because it was way bigger than just having a foggy head. It was really, it was actually destroying my body, and I was having all kinds of physical challenges. So let's talk about some key things that you got to do differently with food. And maybe it's not because your body feels like crap or your mind feels like crap. you may be so strong that you don't realize it, but it's actually bringing your vibration down and you don't realize it. So what would you say are some things to pay attention to on the not to eat list?
Dairy, gluten, sugar.
Everything I just said.
Dairy, gluten, sugar for sure. Now, I'm paleo and gluten free, and there are times that I'll have something non-paleo. Like yesterday, I have a gluten-free quiche recipe, and it's a treat. So I think the last time I had it was Christmas. So I'm okay. It's been almost 4 months, or 3 months since I've had it. And there was a family member in town, and we had brunch together. So it was a fun treat for me. And we had just walked for 2 hours. So I felt like it's fine. My body has just sort of been in exercise mode. So this would be the best time to have a carbohydrate anyway. So it can be redistributed amongst my muscles. I'm not going to have a huge insulin response, and it's not going to have such a negative response. So definitely carbohydrates and gluten, dairy, and sugar. I mean, literally people that stop doing it, right, have this fog that lifts, and they have this focus, and they have sustainable energy, and they don't crash, and they don't have mood swings. And so there's really a lot of benefit. And of course, if you're someone who's eating dairy, gluten, and sugar, and you're thinking, yeah, right, there's no way. There are substitutes, and there are ways to eat that can help you, again, maintain your energy a little bit more. Getting enough protein, getting enough vegetables. While I'm paleo, what's really fun to find out and to listen when people don't know what that means. Oh, it's a caveman diet. They think it's Atkins. Like, oh, you just eat meat. No, you eat a lot of vegetables. It's like I'm vegan, except I eat meat. Like I don't eat beans, but I have lots of vegetables and lots of fruits and lots of nuts and seeds. But yes, there's also some meat or eggs in there or fish, and no dairy. And I mean, occasionally dairy, but not for me. I've been gluten-free since 2008. I might have it 2 or 3 times a year, but I prepare for it. And again, if you're someone that eats that, how do you prepare for that? Well, you can take probiotics. You have a digestive enzyme when you eat the food so that you can aid your body in breaking it down. And then, of course, if it gets stuck, like if you have something that's not moving out of your body, taking some kind of intestinal cleanse to help move it along. And so those would be some of the ways to prepare yourself to eat those foods. So at least you're supporting your body and breaking them down. Yeah. Now, if gluten, dairy, and sugar are going to stay in your diet, just limit your carbohydrates as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because what we don't realize is that many of those junk foods they're very low vibration. They don't have light and anything natural to them. So they actually deplete your ability to connect deeply with your intuition and your higher self. And yes, many of us in this world are going to have them. But the quality of the food you eat is dictating the quality of your mindset, the quality of your energy, the quality of the decisions you're making. And, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but what I am here to do is create possibilities where things may not have been possible before. And I've seen such a huge difference in my life. And by the way, probiotics changed my life. I am an evangelist for probiotics. And I'm not talking about the cheap ones that you get in the grocery store. I'm talking about really high quality probiotics. And they truly will change the quality of your digestion and will give you energy almost instantly if you're taking really good ones. But at least for me, it's such a huge difference. So we've talked about what to not do. We've talked about some things you need to start doing. Give us a quick idea. I know we're starting to run close on time here, but I'd like to maybe just from JJ's best of best, what's something we can do to proactively prepare ourselves for our day? Right? Like to be the best version.
Oh yeah, you're hitting me at a great time because I've just been starting a practice that I've been doing now, and there was resistance in doing it because of the time it takes at first. But now if I don't do it, I can recover, but it takes I have to reset. I have to take 2 hours and either lay down and meditate. I have to reset because if I don't get these things in. So if you're a woman, the first thing I would recommend, honestly, if you're willing to do it, I promise you it will change your life, is to get up. When you get up in the morning, don't turn the TV on. Don't turn your computer on. Turn your phone on, at least for the first half an hour. And if you can, besides going to the bathroom, come back into your bedroom or into a space that feels really comfortable to you and play your favorite music and dance for 5 minutes. Yeah. Seriously, not even for the exercise part, just to get you in your body, to get you out of your head, to clear your energy, to inspire you, to bring you joy. I cannot tell you how dancing for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning I promise you, be in touch. Tell me if you do this. I want to know if it's changed your life. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then make sure the first words that you hear or say, I listen to Abraham tracks. I'll be doing Abraham audios, and then and then maybe I'll meditate, and I'll do a list of positive aspects in a gratitude journal, or a gratitude journal, or a journal that says, what do I want to accomplish today? What 3 things, and not on a to-do thing, but like, I want to feel amazing. I want to make sure that people that I love know I love them, and I want to feel complete at the end of the day. And of course, because you're going to come to work and you're going to go strategic, I'm going to send this email and I'm going to do this thing, right? And that's fine. But before you get there, because again, as we know in law of attraction work, anything that you want, the only reason you want it is because you think you'll feel better in having it. So start the day by having it in your mind and feel better about it. Like, get to the end at the beginning and feel like, wow, I feel great. I've accomplished all these things, and then start your day. So yes, for the exercise, but that's really not why you need to do it or want to do it. So if you can find your favorite, I'm a salsa dancer, I'm a salsa teacher. So I start off my day with salsa. I also, like I said, do Abraham, I meditate, I've got a salt lamp, I write lists of positive aspects, and I make sure that I stay confined in my room, because my husband comes into this room, puts the TV on and has his, and there's noise, and I can't, like, it's too much chaos. And again, it's also reactionary. So I want you to take your power, take your energy, connect your body, get happy. And you can do that really quickly if you block out all the other noise and get your favorite music.
That's a great tip. I love that. And I thought you were going to say something completely different. So this is great. And you know what's funny is you're the second one of my guests today who brought up Abraham. So there's a trend happening here. Okay, so I'm still caught up in dancing and thinking, what would I dance to? And like, I've got this whole thing going on in my head. Someday I have to learn how to salsa. That would be fun.
Well, we live nearby. You can come salsa dancing with me.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Where do you live?
In South Bay, in El Segundo.
Oh, we're not that close, actually. We are in the same hemisphere, so that's good.
Oh, you know,
right out in the valley, so.
Oh, way out in the valley. Okay, you're still in LA.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of LA. I know there's a little bit of a joke with everybody who's on that side versus who's on this side. It's like you have to pack a picnic and you're like in for the day to go across the valley.
Good traffic.
JJ, this has been really, really insightful. And I've got so much insight now into this energy. I want to know one last thing, and that is, like, what do you turn to like in your own practice of getting inspiration for JJ? Like, what's the go-to tried and true way that you get yourself inspired?
Well, through years and years of being told I needed to meditate and resisting that for a long time. And I do it now, but honestly, it's not the way I get my downloads. It's not the way that I connect with either source or my intuition or my subconscious, whatever you think or feel like the messages you get are. It's always when I'm doing some kind of cardio and most likely rollerblading. I could be listening to music, rollerblading down the Strand, at the beach, and literally talking to myself, listening to music and exercising. And somehow that opens up this channel that things just start popping. So again, it's not even for exercise. Like, I've met CEOs on planes and said, look, just do the cardio to get inspiration, because when you have a problem, you can't solve a problem when you're in the problem state of emotion. You have to get out of it. And when you break that state and change that state, you're going to get answers and you're going to get exercise. Like, you're going to get 2 for 1. So think of it as like your way of brainstorming with yourself. Go exercise, do some kind of cardio that feels flowy to you. And I promise you're going to get like, oh my God, I know what to do now. So for me, exercise is not created equal, but exercise is another way for me to connect to my body, to connect with my higher self, whatever you want to call it, and get my downloads. So I know,
because you're not in your logic brain, you're in your bliss state, and that's where more bliss comes from. And that for me, I do that from hiking too. Like, when I'm hiking and I'm out in the woods, it's really beautiful, and you're just kind of in the moment and really present. It's like I'll get downloads, or even just like walking the dog or whatever. So I can see that. And I'm the same way. Like, meditation is to get peaceful. It's not necessarily to receive all my downloads either. So I totally get that. And get the sister thing going on there.
I think that's high energy.
Yeah.
Left and right brain people don't do that. I think right brain people get the downloads in meditation, and the left and right brain people get it in action.
Yeah. We got to get out of our brain to get the downloads.
Right.
So JJ, let's share with people a resource that they can turn to, because obviously this is second nature for you because you live this and breathe this, but a lot of people, this might be a new idea or it's a habit they need to cultivate, and it'd be great to be able to turn to a resource that will help them take this out of the idea stage and make it real for them.
Sure. Well, obviously there's many different aspects that might be for some people it's the food, for some people it's the spiritual stuff, for some people it's the exercise, for some people it's hormones and health and probiotics and things like that. So that's why I created my show. I've got the Fit to Love podcast show is a 6-day-a-week show. It is video and audio.
Wow.
So Mondays is Movement Mondays. It's all about exercise. It's usually a 5 to 10 minute video about an exercise or exercise in general. And to date, I've got in season 1, 101 episodes, and in season 2, 101 episodes. Season 1 was 170. So we're going to finish out season 2 at 300 episodes of the entire show. So I've got a lot of videos on exercise. And then Tasty Tuesdays is easy paleo, gluten and dairy free cooking. And when I say easy, I promise you it's easy, because I know people are busy and they don't want to have to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So I promise all the stuff that we do is tasty, it's easy, and it's good for you. And those are both video. So then we've got Wednesdays, which are Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, which is about the mental processing and psychology and hypnotherapy and strategy. All the thinking stuff is in Thoughtful Thursdays. Freedom Fridays is about law of attraction, spirituality, numerology, tarot. We do all kinds of fun stuff, non-physical entity kind of stuff. I said astrology, right? So Freedom Fridays is law of attraction and non-physical stuff. And then Sexy Saturdays is dating, relationships, marriage, divorce, and sometimes skincare. I've got a little bit of skincare in there for women. And so it's a full show. So depending on what part of your life needs the most amount of help, that's where you would go and choose which day of the week you're interested in. And of course, I believe an integration of all of it is really the key. So it's all there.
That's so true. I love it. Now, where do we find the podcast?
Well, on iTunes, there are currently 3 channels that say Fit to Love. One of them is the full show. See, Before I started podcasting, I wasn't a podcaster, so I didn't realize that the people who like to listen to things aren't going to download videos.
Right.
So of course, okay. So the full show is called Fit to Love, and it's the longest title. Physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness for the happy life you deserve. Big, long title, full show, 6 days a week.
Okay.
Then there's 2 other channels. One is audio only, and one is video only. So if you're an iTunes person and you're watching us and you like video, and that one's called Fit to Love with JJ Flizanes. And if you like just audio, that's Wednesday through Saturday. That one is Fit to Love podcast. Now, if you're not watching this from downloaded iTunes or Stitcher app, and you want to go to the website and stream it and not download anything, the website is fittolove.tv. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv.
Cool. Thanks so much. And, we've brought up a lot of really interesting concepts today around how you can power yourself up by being very cognizant of the vibration that you're putting out in the world through your eating, through the quality of your thinking, and some great ideas. I'd love to hear, as you, the guests, have been listening, what's really popped for you today. You can come on over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. You can just type in JJ Flizanes, or if you're on iTunes and Stitcher, we love that you're listening there, but just know you can't really interact with us, so you'll want to come on over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. Tell us something that you're going to put into action from today's show, or what do you do to bring your vibration up and really kind of fuel your success from the inside out. So, JJ, it's been really fun chatting with you today. It's been way too long since we've had a chat that's not social media oriented, which it is fun to connect on social media. But it's really even more lovely to see you right here and to dig into these ideas that you are so wise around. So thanks for sharing your time and wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, Melanie. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys, we'll see you again next week. We've got another great show lined up. So stay tuned, and can't wait to hear about your journey to awakening a more powerful version of yourself. Bye for now.